Yo, what's up, guys? Mike Patrick. In this video, this is going to be like a story time video, a video that is really good towards um giving people a perspective and sharing some wisdom. Okay, what I see as wisdom. Okay, now I'm going to start this by talking about my first fight. Okay, my first fight that I could remember. Okay, like what I would consider a real fight. You know what I'm saying? Um. I'm probably like 7 to 8 years old. This is maybe second, third grade. Okay. Um, Growing up, okay, especially around that time, you know, people that I was growing up around and people that I was around, and the reason I say it this way is because depending on who you was comparing me to at the time, I could be considered less fortunate, and then depending on who you was comparing me to at the time, I could be considered fortunate. You see what I'm saying? And so I grew up, and around this time, I was in a position where um there were people who were might have been a little jealous of you. You know, you a little kid, you talking about second, third grade, you know what I mean? So people can't really control their emotions as much as they would be able to when they're a little older and a little bit more mature and things like that. So what happens is, I never forget, we getting off the bus going to school, and so I'm going to school. We get to school, right? And then you had a line where the buses was lined up, and then each bus will let their kids off at a certain time. You know what I mean? One after another. And then you had to stand in this line. As you got off your bus, you had to stand in this line before you entered the school, right? So for whatever reason, I don't know why this guy decides to mess with me or what happened or what was said and stuff like that. Because I ain't saying I was completely innocent at this time. You know what I'm saying? But I forgot what happened or what was said. You know what I'm saying? But it ended up being a situation where we end up choking each other. So I got one hand on his throat. He got one hand on my throat. You know what I'm saying? And whatever. But we was at school, so it got broke up, right? It stopped right then and there. I forgot how it transpired. I doubt I was messing with him or I said something to him, but I was gonna stand up for myself. Like, you know what I mean? Whether I wanted to or not, the way I was raised and the way I was being brought up and the way I was taught, you know what I mean? I really ain't even to this day, I ain't the person for all that. I want peace and everything like that, but I will defend myself. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna go but so far. You see what I'm saying? And so, then so it got broken up, right? And then so later on, the person that said they was gonna come and fight me or whatever, or I guess they got hyped up by our other friends or mutual friends or people that who was in the circle at that time, whether you want to call them friends or just people I was going to school with and was around. You know what I'm saying? Hyping them up and whatever. So this dude actually did come to my house later on, right? So we fought, right? From what I can remember, if I had to say somebody won the fight, he got the best of me. You know what I'm saying? My first fight, I'm like a 7, 8 year old kid or something like that. Possibly younger, possibly a little older. No more than 9. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so we fought, whatever. And nothing serious. Nobody got hurt. Like nobody, no blood was drawn or nothing like that. But it was a fight, and I remember. And then I remember like so to try to not make this video long like I try to do with all my other videos, but still trying to get the point across and give a descriptive, you know what I mean, way of looking at, a descriptive uh information about the story, right? You know what I mean, so you can get a full understanding. um so like, long story short, like my brothers found out about the fight. So they like, nah, tell the little boy come back around here, blah 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 blah, tomorrow or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So Matter of fact, what happened was my mom. My mom came out. You know, he seen me fighting or whatever, or seen whatever. My mom come out, break it up. You know what I'm saying? And then so eventually, it gets to my brothers and all that type of stuff. So he like, make sure the little boy come around here tomorrow. Get him around here tomorrow. Tell him to come back tomorrow. So he was supposed to come back the next day. So I'm ready to fight. My brothers now. I got my brothers there with me. What they won't gonna do now? These grown men, they won't gonna. You know what I mean? He's trying to teach me at the time and guide me and bring me up and stuff like that. So you know what I mean, they just gonna be there while we fighting. You know what I'm saying, and instructing me and stuff like that. You know what I mean, and all this type of stuff. You know what I mean. Um, so I'm ready. So we around here waiting. I got a couple of my brothers here. You know what I'm saying. I'm here. We waiting. A couple people that showed up to the fight the day before is over here and they waiting too. You know what I'm saying? The dude didn't show up though. It's probably with something in his spirit, his heart, or whatever. He like, for one, he probably felt like he won that fight, so why can't? And now it's like, okay, now he prepared. Like, I'm not gonna go back over there for a second fight. You know what I mean? Or whatever. He a little kid too. You know what I mean? He was older than me, but he was still a little kid. He probably wasn't no more than 9, 10, 11 at the time. Could have been a little older, because he was a troubled kid in middle school and stuff, and that's a whole nother thing. He was a troubled kid and stuff like that. So while I think he was like in the 4th or 5th grade, you know what I mean? So you would think he's like 9, 10 or whatever, but he could have been 11, 12, anything like that, right? So he doesn't show up or whatever, and so that's that. But the point I'm trying to make is the trauma of the experience and the type of stuff and the type of way that we raised and why some of us are the way we are and things like that. You know what I mean? And I think about it, and and one of the things I said in my head is like, I'll never be unprepared like that again. You know what I'm saying? Because I just won't ready for that experience. Like, I'm growing up in a situation where you spoiled and things like that. That type of stuff wasn't part of my world and my reality. It was in me, but that part won't brought out of me. Meaning, what I mean by that is, a good example of something like that is, imagine with for somebody to become royalty at any given time, right? When you think about the Queen of England or the King of England and stuff like that and things like that, right? And you think about their children and their grandchildren and stuff, they are raised a certain type of way, right? They ain't they ain't necessarily getting their hands dirty with all these different types of things, but in their bloodline, that's in their genetics, because in order for them to be so comfortable, somebody along the line, you know what I mean, in their genetics and in their bloodline, had to lay something down before them. You see what I'm saying? In order for them to be in such a comfy spot. And so that type of stuff kind of that's not in your reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, okay, yeah. My great granddaddy could have been a warrior, or my granddaddy could have been a warrior to put us in a position to where we are royalty over this land. But after a generation or two, I'm born into royalty. I ain't born into what it took to make us royalty. That makes sense. You see what I'm saying? And so I say that to say, you know, um, we gotta always be mindful of how we are raising each other, okay, and how we dealing with each other and things like that, and how we raising our children. Because I say that from two point of views. From the point of view of that kid, and I remember his name, but I'm not gonna call his name or nothing like that. He probably most high willing, he's still alive, doing okay in life and making it. You know what I'm saying? But but at that time, he was probably a misguided kid who ain't have a whole lot of support, ain't have a whole lot, whatever, ain't have parents or ain't have good parents and things like that, ain't have good leadership and good, care in his life at that time, which made him a certain type of way, which put somebody in me in position of, I'm a happy kid, I'm good, I'm chilling, I ain't with all that. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, it ain't in me. I'm still taught to somebody put their hands on you, you hit them back. That's something I was taught when I was young, Whether you think it's right or wrong, whatever. But how I was taught was somebody hit you, you hit them back and stuff like that. So you know what I'm saying? So, but so I, he pressed me to a certain point. I had to retaliate or whatever, whatever. But I won't own all that. I won't with all that. You see what I'm saying? Um, what I can say too is when I was younger, it was times where I was a bully and I would say and do things and treat people in ways that in hindsight I wouldn't have done, but I was a kid that ain't know no better and looking at examples around me and thinking that was cool and that's how you supposed to be, even though that really won't me. You see what I'm saying? Which is why I got the, what you would call a hero complex now, where it's like, and even in when I was growing up, I had this complex. It started to develop as I grew up. It was times where I had a best friend that I spoke of before. I ain't gonna call his name in this video to keep bringing people up, especially that I don't really necessarily communicate with that much now. You know what I'm saying? Um, not knowing where they at in life and whether they would want to be, you know what I'm saying? All you get it. So the thing is, like, I remember it was times where, like in middle school, getting a little older now, having certain experiences and stuff, you know what I'm saying, where it was guys that I was cool with. I might have been cool with them or something, and they ain't really bother me or mess with me. You see what I'm saying? But I did have a friend who was smaller and stuff like that, who, for whatever reason, sometimes people thought they could mess with him. You see what I'm saying? It was time, and I'm talking about tough dudes. I'm talking about dudes that was toting guns in middle school. I'm talking about dudes that you ain't play with that a lot of people were scared of. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I remember times confronting them. You know what I'm saying? When I know they had a gun on them in school, in the bathroom or something, and they was picking on my friend or something. I'm like, nah, you can't. And they chill with me, like, Mike, I ain't talking to you or whatever, whatever. But they let it go. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to encourage more stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? More stuff like that, where we don't make it cool for you to try to pick on somebody or think you a tough guy with that. Cause this same kid was a misguided kid, a unruly kid at the time, based on the fact that he probably ain't had a guidance in his life to check him. This 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old little kid. You know what I'm saying? Middle school. You know what I'm saying? And And so they want in their right mind. Like I said, I would, even for that person, I would hope by now. And I knew this person even growing up all throughout high school. Like, it wasn't no grudge or nothing. We still knew each other. They was cool with people I was cool with. Stuff like that. We knew each other. Ain't nobody appear to hold no grudge. If I seen them today, we probably dap each other up. What's good? How you doing? Boom, boom. Keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? But um but it go to show you the guidance and stuff, and you know what I mean, and even that come with just maturity, because like he would probably look at it now like, yeah, that was some, but I ain't had to do all, and this a real dude to probably to this day, because I know as we grew up he became a real dude. People feared him in the streets and all this type of stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And so the thing is, like, but he still, even then, as he grew up, he probably had a certain level of maturity of, like, he just won't bothering people just to be bothering them. You had to be caught up when he was caught up in, and had to offend him some type of way, and you probably had to be in some type of dealings. You see what I'm saying? To have a problem with him. So, you know what I mean? I say that to say this, like, it's about our guidance and how we guide these children and stuff like that, and how you want to get these children look at how to look at stuff and look at people. You know what I mean? And so, for whatever reason, he had enough respect for me at that time to not try to take it no farther and go no farther, or to hold no grudge years later. Cause you don't really forget stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't forget stuff like that. I'm remembering it now. I'm 36 years old, and I'm remembering something from when I was probably 11, 12, 13 years old. You see what I'm saying? So you don't forget stuff. Like, if I can remember this incident, they probably could remember it too. You see what I'm saying? So, and especially 15, 20 years ago when we was in high school or something like that. You see what I'm saying? It was even fresher. So, you know what I mean? So that go to show you, man, even people that you think are bad people, or you think they are products of their environment, they products of the way they brought up, and they still can be good people with good hearts. They just need And it's harder when people become adults and they more set in their ways. But the point I'm trying to make is, if we do things right when children are children, and raise them the best we can when they are children, and put them in the best situation emotionally, psychologically, and things like that when they are children, and physically. But I'm speaking on psychologically and emotionally, because these type of things usually come from psychological and emotional neglect. The physical neglect usually is just a byproduct of those two. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm like, so what I'm saying is, and this one of those kind of rambling videos, is Jews, and I'm making sense, I know, but it's no real direction. I wanted to get started with that story to get me started, but wherever it takes me, it takes me. You know what I'm saying? And so, um, we have to, like I said, make sure that we are being good examples for our children. You see what I'm saying? Trying to raise them in ways to uh not be docile under circumstances where it's time to raise up, but to not be just doing stuff just because, and to be counterproductive, and to be working against yourself. You see what I'm saying? And what else I want to say? You know what I'm saying? Then even I think about my second fight. I think about my second fight that I can remember. You know what I'm saying? That was significant, though. I can still remember it to this day. You know what I'm saying? I'm now I'm living in I'm not living, but I'm in an area. Somebody who I spent a lot of time at their house and stuff like that, and in their neighborhood and things like that growing up. I'm in the area, and same thing. I'm still young, you know what I'm saying? I'm still real young and still spoiled and brought up a certain kind of way. And I thank the Most High for my upbringing. I thank the Most High for the diversity of my upbringing, because I wouldn't be who I am today to be able to hopefully help other people with a perspective and an understanding and a way of seeing things, and maybe helping them and helping their children, their family, their friends, whatever, so we can be helped collectively and get better collectively. You see what I'm saying? So I had to go through whatever I went through in order to be able to have the experience, so I can digest it all and then spit it back at somebody else that may could relate to it or get some type of help or wisdom from it. You know what I mean? So, but I got into this fight. This dude was probably older than, I mean, not probably, he definitely was older than me, but if I had to guess, 2.5, 3, maybe even 4 years older than me. You know what I'm saying? At the time, I'm probably like, I remember, I never forget, it was a summer going into my 5th grade year. So I'm basically fourth grade going into the 5th grade, and I spent the summer, majority of the summer in this area. So, I'm like 10, maybe 11, maybe. I don't even think I was 11 yet. And so, like, this fight happens, and it was the same thing. If you gotta ask, if somebody had to win the fight, he probably won the fight. You know what I'm saying? But did I get beat up? Like, was I beat down, or no blood was drawn, no nothing? I remember just kind of curling up, and then he was just swinging and punching, and I just kind of curled up, and I didn't really take no real punches. It's kind of like, why to go show you. I think I was a boxer in a past life or something like that, because this before I was taught anything about technically how to fight. You know what I'm saying? And I knew how to. I balled up, and I had my hands over my, anywhere that I could be hit. You know what I'm saying? It was instinctive. Like, anywhere that I could be hit that could have really hurt me. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't really hurt me or touch me, because I was just balled up and just rolling with the punches. I remember being on the back wall. I was on a brick wall, and I was just moving side to side and rolling, and with my hands up, so nothing would really stick, and just letting him punch himself out. But he never really hurt me. But I ain't had a mentality like I ain't had a mentality at the time like he get tired and then go in on him or something. Like, I won't as strategic back then, if that makes sense. So, and then the fight was over. He got tired, where he stopped punching, whatever, and the fight was over. And it was one of my older boys that was around me and with me. And, he was like, if it get too bad, I'll jump in or whatever. Because he convinced me to fight him. I won't even want to fight the dude. I won't on all that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I won't even fight the dude. He convinced me to fight him. He was like, if it get too bad, I'll jump in. Whatever. And so, dude, we fight. Oh, we fighting, whatever, whatever. I get a few licks in, but for the most part, I'm balled up and just making sure I don't take no licks. You know what I'm saying? Just waiting for it to be over. So, you know what I mean? And then, so eventually my boy put his drink down. I never forget, he had a drink in his hand. He was drinking some juice or something with some ice in it. He put that down, and he owed it too. He owed it than both of us. And so he puts his drink down, and then so he kind of like breaks. Either he about to fight, I forgot what he was about to actually fight the dude, and so the dude just stopped because he didn't want to fight him. You know what I'm saying? Or it was just like he just broke it up, and it was that was just the end of it, and that was that. You see what I'm saying? And so, what I take from that is like I think about it, man. It's a couple times since I've been grown. I done seen this dude, and I be, you know what I mean. I done seen the dude, and you could tell the dude remember that, and that's what he be thinking of. Like me, I'm 30 something years old. Even by the time I seen this dude, I think I was in my 30s. It's like, you know what I mean. And so I say what's up because this is somebody I grew up with. Mind you, this dude, you know what I'm saying, like we grew up around each other in that neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, before that fight, and that fight wasn't that serious. I won't holding no grudge, and I definitely ain't holding no grudges 20 years later. That's just not who I am. You see what I'm saying? Especially in the way that I've been maturing and developing. Like, I'm not, we fought, nigga, when we was 10 or something. Like, all right, I ain't about to see you 40 years later, you know what I'm saying, and then be like, and act like I don't know you, or give some type of indication that I'm still holding on to that, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. So I'm like, what's up? But you could tell the dude kind of still had something in him. You could just see it, you could feel it. Like, well, he was like, oh no, we fought back or whatever, whatever. Like, I'm like, all right, like whatever. And so you just gotta let stuff like that go. And I didn't have experiences with that with people, period. You know what I'm saying? I can imagine some of the stuff I said or did to people that I might not even remember growing up. You know what I'm saying? And they might still feel a certain type of way today. And then if I just see you in the store and I'm just like, what's up? I just remember you. I ain't thinking about if I said something to you wrong or if I teased you or joked on you or anything like that or whatever I might have done. Because, you know what I mean? Whatever. So, I ain't looking at it like that. I'm looking at it like we grown. Ha. We was kids. All right, we grown now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't holding no grudges for that. But this person is something about their energy where it seemed like they still was harping on. They was still stuck in that energy. You know what I'm saying? And so, I say that to say too, like, we have squabbles and stuff. You have squabbles with family, whether it's just verbal, anything like that. Like, man, if you really love some, at some point, bro, you gonna have to come together, bro. And y'all gonna have to put all of these little petty differences to the side. And you gonna come together. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's not happening, but I'm just saying, just to keep reiterating, because I don't want to sound like a broken record. Because some people make a living off stuff like this, where they on YouTube and they on different platforms to make money, and so they just got to keep feeding a certain beast. And they're not really trying to make progress. They just want to harp on something. So something can be an issue that you could have used to be an issue and used to be a hot topic and something we had to work on, and we could have passed that aspect of or that part of it, and we could have then moved on and making progress. And you got people who still want to act like the problem is the same as it was. You see what I'm saying? Because they trying to bend. They don't have no content. That's why I say about certain people. You think about it, you got people who bash women. You got people who bash guys. You got people who bash white people. You got people who bash excuse me. You got people who bash other races or whatever. And so and then so you ask yourself, well, I wonder what happened. You hot based off of this. So what happens if everything that you complaining about changes tomorrow? Then what you gonna do? So are you really for change and trying to, make progress, or are you just trying to ride something that's a problem and hoping that this stay a problem so you can always have content, always have something to generate revenue from, but while the problem itself is never actually being solved? You feel me? So, like, you gotta think about stuff like that too. You gotta put all them petty differences aside. You know what I mean? When it boils down to it, you got who you got, right? You know what I'm saying? And so therefore, you make best and try to make the best relationships with who you got. You know what I'm saying? And things like that, and patch all that up and come together and be one. And that's how you gonna be stronger. Not necessarily to go against nobody else, but just for y'all to be stronger and to be the best that you can be. You know what I'm saying? And things like that. So yeah, man. I mean, I'm kind of searching for stuff now, so it's probably other stuff like any other video I do. It's probably other stuff that I can mention. It'll come out eventually. You know what I'm saying? I'll get it out eventually if I missed any points. You know what I'm saying? Some in some other video. That's why my videos are a body of work. You know what I'm saying? You might not get everything in the video, or you might not always understand me if you just hear one video. It takes, you know what I mean? You might have to listen to 5 or 10 of my videos to get a good understanding of where I'm coming from. You see what I'm saying? Or you might misinterpret something I'm saying, or misinterpret my overall mind frame and idea. You know what I'm saying? Because you just catching one thing, one topic, one video, and then you're trying to judge a person off of that. So, I think that's good. I think I think it was enough in this video. And it's already like 25 minutes. It probably might be the longest video I ever did, or darn no, that ain't the longest video I did, but definitely one of them. So there you go. But so there's more like a live where it ain't necessarily no one topic. You know what I mean? But but it's a lot of good stuff in here, and it's worthy content. You know what I mean? If you're willing to listen, you know what I mean? And things like that, or if it resonates, you know what I mean? But so hopefully it's a good video, guys. Peace.